Hello, boys and girls. It is a Monday, and guess what? Along with Monday comes a smallish stack of things that came. But first, let's take a look at some good deals that I managed to find at Walmart, of all places. Got Primal with Nicolas Cage, who is going on to play Joe Exotic in the Tiger King of the fiction series, the fiction adaptation. And it just seems right, you know what I mean? Well, for this is kind of a prelude, but then perfect casting for Nicolas Cage's Joe Exotic. Can't wait for that. And then, of course, Adam Sandler in Uncut Gems. Now, what's cool is that this was $7 and this was actually 12. And so those are some of the cheaper prices that I've seen for them. And so yeah, it was a good time to do it. Just kind of stumbled upon it when I was in the neighborhood. And, these are, well, for sure the Nicolas Cage one, it's like, well, Nicolas Cage, you've automatically got something that, it's better for having him in it, because he'll at least make it enjoyable, and then I've heard that Uncut Gems is possibly Adam Sandler's best performance in a movie, and I am very curious to see how it stacks up against one of my favorite films of all time, which is Punch Drunk Love, which he gave, I think, one of the best performances I've ever seen an actor give in any film in that movie. And it helped that he had Paul Thomas Anderson as the writer-director there, but he just really gave it his all, and I don't think many people could have played that character, and the fact that he did so beautifully, I thought that really said a lot about him as an actor. And I think both Adam Sandler and Nicolas Cage, now that I think about it, I think that they both are able to play characters that most other actors couldn't necessarily play. Certainly not in the same way. Well, both for comedies and for dramas, but it's just it's something that I think that says a lot. That they have a specialty, as Christopher Walken said. That he had a specialty that only he could provide, and I think that they operate that same way. So anyway, yeah, those are just some random finds there. Now let's get into what actually came in the mail today. We got Pittsburgh, PA. We got something here. What could it be? It's wedged on there pretty tight. How's your week so far? Has it started off okay? Yeah, mine was alright. I had to do a lot of antivirus stuff on my computer and doing a lot of cleanup and stuff to get it to run correctly because it was not running the way it should. But yeah, this one's really exciting. It's the Compleat Al DVD, signed by Al himself, and I'm beyond thrilled at that because Weird Al is one of my heroes, and there you go. It's the VIP access tour there, disc and everything. So yeah, I'm beyond thrilled that this, well, A, that it got a, release from Shout Factory, but also that I have an autograph from one of my heroes. So yeah, beyond thrilled there. I'm gonna move this down just a hair. That's bugging me. There you go. Okay. Next up, Federal Way, Washington State. And we've got newspapers. Oh boy. I don't know. Does anybody else get bothered by this, newspapers that serve as packaging? I do. But anyway, I'm glad that this got a Shout Select here, the Legally Blonde 1 and 2, which I have not seen the second one in forever, but I've watched the first one many, many times. I think it's significant. Like, I don't know why it only got a 40-something% on Rotten Tomatoes. Like, it has a pretty wide fan base, and I think it goes beyond, like, your standard, like, kind of chick flick, quote-unquote, audience. Like, I think it has a lot of very good humor, a lot of really good characterization on the part of Elle Woods herself. Reese Witherspoon plays her really well, and it's all about someone who it kind of like in a weird. This is gonna sound weird, kind of a weird comparison, but kind of like how Rocky Balboa is someone who, it like the whole point of Stallone writing him that way was that the idea was that he was so misrepresented by the way that he walked and talked and dressed and acted, that it kind of didn't show who he really was on the inside. And in a way, I think that Elle Woods is kind of similar in the sense that, she is someone who, just looking at her, you would think that this person's a total airhead. And, she has some airheaded aspects to her, but it is not indicative of her ability to figure out a situation, and to really work hard to overcome other people's expectations of her. And I think a lot of, women and a lot of people can relate to that on some level. And yeah, glad that I got these back in the Shout Select with the slip there. What else have we got? Blaine, Washington. Oh boy. The good old Northwest there is getting represented. What could this be, you may ask? This is the Road Warrior, which is cool, and it's the Canadian edition there. And Beyond Thunderdome should be in the mail as well, and then I'll have all the Mad Max movies back in the collection there. And this one's probably my second favorite. I think out of the Mel Gibson ones, it's the best. It does, Fury Road does cover similar territory to this, in the sense that it's Max having to transport some people. In this case, it's more just like a town full of people instead of just specifically the brides of this, this really nasty looking guy. But then you've got, Lord Humongous there in his delightful S&M club where, he has to guide the townspeople to safety. So similar, but, I think the Fury Road does kind of develop that central premise a little bit more. The Road Warrior is very much in the classical Western mold of the drifter has to, protect townspeople from local warlords. It's very Clint Eastwood. Now we got Camrose, Alberta. Okay. And look at that. Look at how many stamps there are on this thing. That is pretty cool, though, actually. You get to see the kinds of stampage that they have. And obviously, because Canada is still one of the Commonwealth nations, they have some kind of, allegiance to the crown on some level. They're fully independent. They're not dependent on the monarchy, but they still keep up, relations with the Queen in the way that we don't. And so I think that's kind of neat. Oh, and Speak of the Devil, there you go. Beyond Thunderdome. Also, the Canadian edition there. Now, a lot of people call this the least good of the Mel Gibson ones. I can see the complaints as far as it being a little bit more kid-friendly. I don't think it's overly kid-friendly because, if I recall, it was still a PG-13, and that was at a time when PG-13 was a harder core rating than it is today. Nowadays, it's kind of the norm for, almost everything. G-rated films almost don't exist anymore. PG is like the new G now. But anyway, people called it perhaps a little too kiddish. I wouldn't necessarily go that far. I think that I thought that Tina Turner, her character, I thought that she made for a good antagonist. I thought that that the whole match in the cage in the beginning I thought was really good. And there's nothing wrong with Mad Max going after, to save some kids. Indiana Jones did it, so why not Mad Max? And then last up, Hicksville, New York, which rather amusing name there, I have to say. Because generally, when you think of Hicksville, you don't think of New York, but there are probably plenty of Hicksville-like towns in New York as much as there are anywhere else. Now, this is, the house is October built 2, and with the slipcover there, which some of these are LJE films, sometimes their slipcovers can be kind of tough to find. I had the first one, and I've seen the first one, and I liked it quite a lot. I managed to find it with the slipcover, which I know is getting harder to find, so I was glad to snag it up while I had the chance, and so now I've got the sequel with the slipcover. So yeah, very, very exciting there. The first one, if you don't know, it is a found footage film about a group of people that travel across the country to experience different haunted house attractions, like the kind that people make to deliberately scare people. And the idea is that they go into these increasingly like more out of the way places, more kind of backwoodsy, and that they're more off the map and more outside of the realm of regulations. And so, in other words, they are able to find these places that get more and more intense, and all the while, they come across some sketchier characters. That's all I'll say about that. But great found footage film, very, very underrated, and I imagine that the sequel will be worthwhile as well. So yeah, we got quite a good spread today. So we got the Mad Max films all completed again, and some cool finds there. So yeah, should have some more exciting stuff coming this week. So stay tuned. Hit the subscribe button, like, share, and hit the bell icon, and set phasers to stun, warp factor 5, all that stuff. Continue to keep safe out there in that coronavirus hellhole that we call Earth, and I will see you in the next video.